Hey guys, welcome to Kipoerneke's Corner. I have been trying to log into EverQuest Legends unsuccessfully thus far. What I'm getting is the please expect high traffic and possible delays. Now, previously, before this current login, I was getting the launch pad was unable to connect. So now we finally have connected. And we've got please expect high traffic and possible delays logging in as we work to get everybody into the game during launch day. We thank you for your patience. We'll click through there and see if we can make it in this time. It says error. There was an error completing your request. Please try again when I try to get in there. So I think probably we're just kind of overwhelmed with the number of people trying to log in at this moment. So I was thinking I would come over here and try to find the producer's letter here for what we've got going on today. It says, Hail Norethians, and this was from yesterday. We are beyond excited to officially announce the launch of EverQuest Legends tomorrow, July 28th, 2026 at noon Pacific time. We have many exciting surprises in store for you over the coming weeks and months, but I want to share a couple of big items that will be in for launch. Kerrans. That's right. No need to call a manager. The Kerran race is in for launch. For those that love cats or just have an itch to play a tribal feline character, the Kerran race is ready and Kara Isle awaits you. 4K scaling. You asked for it a lot, and the development team delivered ahead of schedule. You can now scale the UI to make everything much more readable, which is super awesome because definitely there were some things that were very difficult to read due to the font being very small. Ah, what a relief, they say. And we have much more to come. Please check out the EQ Legends roadmap on our website tomorrow, that would be today, for more information. Or skip ahead and watch our panel from San Diego Comic-Con last Saturday from 1999 to EverQuest Legends. For the launch, please note that we'll be opening the servers and stages tomorrow to help avoid stability issues. Accordingly, please expect possible delays and queues when logging in. Demand for the game has exceeded our expectations, so we'll be monitoring the game's performance and increasing server capacity as necessary. We appreciate your patience as we get everybody into the game over the coming days. Finally, I want to say a special thank you to everybody who joined us for the closed beta, the open beta at Comic-Con, and or online in Discord, Reddit, Facebook, etc. for your time, feedback, creativity, and shared passion for the game. EverQuest Legends may be designed for a solo/casual game, but make no mistake, the EQ Legends community is the lifeblood of the game and the reason we do what we do. We made this game for all of you, and it is our immense pleasure to finally open the servers so your new adventures in Norath can begin. And then he says, cheers, it's David Sisyphus Giuseppe, Executive Director. So that's what we're looking at for the information that they gave us today. Now, during the reading of that, I was able to get on to the server selection screen. So we're going to go over there now and hopefully make it a little further along in this process. All right, here we are. It shows that all of the statuses are low. So we're going to try Nereac and click play and we'll just see what happens. It says the world server is currently at maximum capacity. You have been added to the login queue for the server and will automatically log in when there is availability. Average wait time 6 minutes. Okay, that's actually not so bad. I expected it to be significantly longer. So 6 minutes we can probably handle, right? In the meanwhile, maybe we pop back over and look at the aforementioned EverQuestLegends.com roadmap. So I'm going to click over here and see if we can get to that. Sorry, I'm switching screens here. And who knows what you guys are seeing. But we're going to go to this screen and see if I can get there to just the news page. Getting started in EverQuest Legends. This was July 28th, 2026. That would be today. It says, learn more about EverQuest Legends and start your adventure today. Ready to become a legend? Watch this beginner's guide to learn the fundamentals you need, then purchase EverQuest Legends and start playing. YouTube is disabled. That's interesting. Jump into EverQuest Legends and adventure your way. Why? Let's click allow here. All right, what do we have? It says getting started. Dead. What is it? It looks like it says Deadbeard Flynn's corpse. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and play the video if possible.
So you heard about EverQuest Legends and you may or may not have ever played.
It just occurred to me you guys may not. Yeah, okay, you are hearing it. All is well then. Sorry about that.
EverQuest before, and you're wondering what the hell are you supposed to do when you get started? Well, that's what this video is all about. I, the creator of the most mediocre EverQuest beginner guide, that's what I titled it, well, I'm here to help. This video is designed to be a beginner basics to get you started whether you are familiar with EverQuest and just want to know how EverQuest Legends is different, or if you have no freaking clue how to play or what a froglock is.
All right, now, okay, so I think that I didn't start with a walkthrough myself whenever I first started playing on the closed beta, and I think that I think that it was okay to do it that way. Like I feel like it was fine to just kind of jump in and go with it. So I don't know that we necessarily need to look at a walkthrough on how to start. That being said, if you haven't ever played an MMO before, or if you have no experience whatsoever in the EverQuest world, like then maybe it would be good to look at something like this, getting started in EverQuest Legends. Personally, I think I would prefer something that's like some tips, just like written things, right? So that you can see how things are different than in your average MMO. But I don't know. I haven't seen this, and maybe that's kind of what he goes into. Anyway, just a note there. If you've played other MMOs, a lot of it is going to be very, very similar to what you're used to. There are, of course, definite differences between this and, like I said, other stuff like even EverQuest 2 is quite different than what you'll find in EverQuest Legends. But I do think that that there are some things that might need to be pointed out, and maybe he's going to get into it here with this Frogbeard Flynn. Let's go forward. Sorry about that interruption.
There'll be timestamps down below so you can hop around to the information that you need. But before we get into this, I had to do something truly horrifying to make this guide. I had to delete my max level EverQuest Legends beta character to make this.
I'm going to interrupt again there. If in fact you have already been playing on the closed beta or the open beta, the pre-order beta, then you can copy your files, like your UI files, if you have it set up a certain way. I would say, if you haven't done that, I think you should still be able to do that. And I just kind of made a backup just in case things go wrong as you start to, get this ready to go live. I don't know if it's necessary at all, but it's what I did, and hopefully it's going to work whenever we go live, and hopefully I can just transfer those files over if I need to and change the server name. Not sure. We'll see how that goes, but that obviously doesn't make your character exist again. It just does keep your UI that you had set up so that everything's in the same places as you're used to it being. And that, I think it actually saves your macros and stuff too. So it can be very helpful. I did it whenever we went from closed beta to pre-order beta, and I found it very, very useful. So be sure to do that if you already have some files saved that you want to use. All right. Sorry. Moving forward.
Believe it or not, I was sponsored to do that. Sponsored to delete my character. My first sponsor in over 5 years of content creation. This video is sponsored by none other than EverQuest Legends themselves, who looked around at everybody creating content and decided I was the best one to make this video, and I hope I don't f it up. Shit, can I still cuss? Let's start with character creation. We need to start at race and classes selection because this is a very important step, even if it's not entirely permanent. You'll pick from one of 15 different races, and this will actually impact your primary class, because there is a race class matrix that you need to abide by, at least for this one. For example, picking an ogre means that your primary class is limited to Beast Lord, Shaman, Berserker, Warrior, or Shadow Knight. But picking a human means you can be basically anything. But who would want to be a human when you can be a frog? The good news here is that with some effort, you can actually change this later. There are in-game achievements for race unlocks like the Barbarian unlock you're seeing here. Now these aren't going to be easy, it's going to be quite a lot of grinding to be able to unlock these, but it does mean you aren't fully locked in.
What I'm seeing here is that it looks as though we're going to be able to see in-game what's required to unlock these different races. And I didn't realize that that was going to be the way that it is. So I'm pretty intrigued by that, because I'm seeing on his screen something that looks like, I suppose that was the barbarian that he was talking about. I don't recall. But anyway, he's got these different races lined up there. And that's pretty cool. I didn't see that whenever I was in before. I did see this screen. I can't remember what button I pressed to get here. If it was possibly, and it might have been why, I'm not sure, but there's a window you can go to, and it's like achievements off of the EQL button. So, or it's like in the options, or not options, but I'll show you when we get in. But I have seen this screen, and it has like your Slayer stats, or Slayer achievements, trade skill, general. You can see all that. But I don't know where it shows this specific screen. It looks like it's in the very top one, and he's selected races. I don't know what that top screen is. I don't recall it from when I was in the pre-order beta, but that's very interesting. Let us continue.
To that boring human you picked. The second most important choice you're making here is your primary class. The way classes in EverQuest Legends work is that you can mix and match 3 different classes pretty liberally throughout the game. However, you start with a primary class that can't be changed until you hit level 50, at which point you can unlock a second primary class. Basically, if Shadow Knight is your primary class, you're mix and matching 2 classes with that Shadow Knight throughout until level 50. Then you could pick a second primary class like Berserker. And that would give you a whole new set, but you're again mixing and matching 2 classes with the Berserker. Your primary class is like your pivot foot in basketball. You can't move off of it. Your secondary and tertiary or third classes, though, are completely different. Take for example here, we've got our little Ixar with the Necromancer as their primary class. Now I get to go and choose my secondary class, which is not limited by the same class race matrix as the primary. I can be anything, an Ixar Ranger, Ixar Paladin, whatever my little scaly heart desires. And this is a full-on, fully featured class to complement my primary class. That means you have everything that you would if you were just that one class. There's no difference here in like how strong one class or the other is. They all are the same level. We won't be picking our third class until level 10 though. Until level 11 you can freely switch your classes, but once you hit level 11 you'll need to switch those second 2 classes in cities. So you'll still be able.
One thing that I want to point out here is that while one class may not be stronger than another, certain combinations are definitely going to go together better than others. And not only that, the type of armor that you can wear is dependent on what classes that you have. So if you have something, and if all of your people can only wear cloth, right, then all you can wear is cloth. But say 2 of your classes can wear cloth and 1 of them can wear leather. Leather is the heavier armor out of those, and so you can wear cloth or leather if you do that. If you have somebody in your classes that can wear plate, then you can wear plate. So it's limited not by the lowest common denominator. It's limited by the heaviest armor that any of your classes can wear. So it might be something to consider when you're making your character. If you are wanting to be a little bit more durable, and say you want to be like a mage, but you want to be a very much higher mitigation mage, then you could do like a a necromancer or whatever as one of your classes, and then you could have a warrior as one of your other classes. So just so you know, that's a thing that you can do, and kind of up what kind of level armor, not level, but the heaviness of the armor that you can wear, and so the amount of defense that you have there. So that's something to think about before you choose where you're going with that. Now, as he said, you can switch throughout the game with different loadouts. The limits on that, I'm unsure of. I do know that, as you said, you can't choose the third, or you can't switch the primary class until level 50, which I did not get to on either the closed or the pre-order beta. But you can do some things, I understand, to unlock the ability to switch like your secondary and tertiary classes. Again, I don't know too much about that because I didn't get to those levels and I never switched my classes beyond choosing the first three. All right, so moving forward with that.
Able to mix and match those two secondary classes, but not your primary class until you hit that level 50 unlock. As you can see here on the screen right now, I have Shadow Knight as my primary class, and then all my secondary classes are mixed and match in different loadouts on the side on the right. The first thing that I do in game is modify my UI a little bit. Everything can be moved around or stretched or shrunk, but the main things you want to be aware of is your health, mana, and endurance bar right here, and the enemy target box right here. And
I just glanced over at the stream here, and it looks to me like it has not gone down. So you guys actually can't see this video that I'm looking at. Let me see if I can fix that somehow so that we can, because that's no good, right? All right, let's see how. I guess you guys can hear it at least, so that's something. Okay, let's switch over to the EverQuest Legends screen, and then I'll mess around here for a minute and see if I can find anything useful. Oh, Jones says hello, and how much does the game and sub cost, if you know? So I pre-ordered it, and after tax, it was like I want to say $21 and some odd. So it was $19.99 plus tax for the game, and for the first month's subscription that came as a bundle. Every month thereafter, it's going to be $10 a month. So there you go. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, now can I make this show you what I want it to? I see what the problem here is. I think. Maybe. The question is, can I fix it? Let's see. Maybe. All right. Maybe I can. Troubleshoot. That's what I can do. I'm not really sure why it's not moving down on the screen as I do. I thought it would, but obviously no. And it's not on either area here. Sorry. You know me, I just sort of bumble around. Okay, I'm going to try adding something. Let's see if it works really. Hmm. We'll try moving things around for a moment. And hopefully you'll get to see what I'm seeing. Looking promising so far. You guys see that? Hopefully you can. All right, I think that looks like what I'm seeing here. So, okay, let's move forward. And also want to have this up. So there we go. All right. Now we're going to try moving this video forward a little bit.
And your spell gems right over here. In EverQuest Legends, you are limited with how many spells you can have memorized at any time. To use a spell, it must be memorized in the spell gem. Almost like EverQuest originally originated from muds or something like that. The limits on the amount of spells we can have doesn't really matter that much right now in this little example because we only have 2 spells at the moment and they are helpfully already memorized for us. To unmemorize your spells, to swap them out, hover over the gem and right click. There's a few different ways to mem your spells from here. The most useful and helpful, especially as you get more and more spells, is going to be right-clicking the gem. This lets you see your spells in different categories, and you can just click the one that you want.
So I was told to do that a lot of times by people in chat, and it's not that I disagree. It's just that I'm used to going into the spell book in EverQuest too, so it's just my go-to habit to go to the spell book and look through them. And also, I don't know, it's just there's not as many menus to click through, I suppose, as doing it with the right click method. And also, I may already have my spell gems full, which I probably do, and I don't want to, right click and delete one just so that I can see what I have to go into slots as options. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I agree that it is handy to be able to do that, and I understand people suggesting that, but at the same time, it's also viable to go into your spellbook and do it from there and just sort of drag and drop. But all right, back to this.
Otherwise, you can open up your spellbook with default K or using the spellbook icon at the bottom of the spell gem bar. This is also a hotkey for spells pre-made for you, which you can see down in the hotbar, which is set for the number of 6. To memorize this way, left click the spell icon and it will attach to your mouse and you can drag it over to the spell gem and left click in the gem you want it to be in. Now let's say you want to cast your first spell gem slot, in this case life tap, using your hotkeys. Use pretty much the same idea as the spellbook. Left click and hold over the spell gem and it'll attach to your mouse and you can add it to your hotkeys. Each hotkey shows the key that activates it. Just remember that you do have to hold it briefly for it to attach. This is also how you'll move your hotkeys around. At level 1, we have the spells we need right now, and EverQuest Legends through level 20 will give you the most necessary spells for your class as you level up, so no need.
So one thing is, it can be very difficult if you're new to the game, because some things you right click, other things if you right click them then it deletes it, and then some things you left click once and let up, and then other things you left click and hold. So there's a lot of things like that that can be difficult to get used to, and to realize like, okay, which of these merchants is going to attack me, or which of these guys are going to attack me when I right click him, and which ones are going to actually offer me their wares to buy or whatever, right? Because if right clicking is set to auto attack, which it is by default, I believe, then you can end up attacking someone because you don't realize that they're not a merchant or something like that. So it can be complicated, and I believe that I had mine set up so that if you right clicked, it did not attack them because I knew that I was going to end up going and getting in fights with guys like that. But also the same can apply for other things like right clicking can delete a spell from your spell gem window, for instance. So if you right click instead of left click when you're trying to drag something, you can delete your spell from the window instead. So it's the right clicking and left clicking, and whether you hold or whether you don't hold definitely comes into play, and it can take a minute to get used to for sure. All right, we'll go forward a little bit here.
To go and buy them early on, but you will need to eventually, and spell vendors are located in starting cities across Norath with most of the spells you'll need, but of course before you buy some spells you're gonna need some money first. You can make additional hotbars to add everything from items to spells to macros and skills by right-clicking and selecting Open New Hotbar, and you're going to need it because this is where EverQuest Legends gets really interesting. Stances and invocations. EverQuest Legends has unique, very potent skills called stances and invocations. Stances for melee and invocations for casters, and they can be used together if you're both classes. To find these, navigate to your menu box that defaults to the bottom right of your screen, or press L by default. Under abilities, you're going to find these specific to your class build as well as basic and general hotkeys. In this demonstration, I am a Berserker and a Necromancer right now, those two classes. As a Berserker, a melee class, you see that I have the Berserker stance, which uses my endurance to double my attack speed while also making me take 8.3% of the damage I deal. I'm definitely going to want to use that, so I'm going to drag it and drop it on my hotkeys. But there will be times when I don't want to be taking that damage, because I'd probably die. So I'm going to go ahead and add the offensive stance as well, which increases my melee damage by 100% and chance to hit by 25%, using up my endurance but not causing damage. Not quite as strong, but not quite as risky, and I can swap in between the two of them, at will. I'm also a spellcaster, or it could be a hybrid. Necromancer is my primary class, so we want to add in an invocation. An invocation works separately from these stances, and I have a few options like Overchannel, which makes my spells harder to resist.
So I was trying out these, the stances and the invocations thing. It was interesting that you get both. And I think that it would be fun to check out the different class combinations that you can do and how those stances and invocations go with each other, or in some cases perhaps are counter to each other. I am curious about that and would like to learn more about it. So far, I've only done Berserker, Bard, and Shaman combo, so I've had less experience with that. But certainly, there are certain stances and invocations that complement others, or each other rather, and certain ones that are counter to each other. And you definitely want to look over all of the stances that you have available to you for all of your classes and try to see which things are going to be best in which situations. Because I feel like, for me, I was doing a lot of switching between stances conditionally, right? So I think that that's going to be something that's going to come into play probably for all class combinations pretty much. You're going to be switching stances maybe kind of often, at least between a couple of different stances, a couple of different stances and a couple of different invocations, depending on the situation. So be aware of that. They're not, they switch very quickly, but there is a cooldown before you can switch again after switching. So be aware of that.
Or Recover, which doubles my mana regeneration. Very helpful since I'm also a Berserker, I'll be meleeing a lot, so not really focusing on all that mana regeneration. So now I'm set going into Berserker stance with Recover, but there's one more thing we want to do here. In the same window, you can find all your skills by clicking on the category or name to categorize them all. And as a Berserker, there's one very important skill we want to add to our hotkey, Frenzy. This is a skill we use every 15 seconds to do extra damage, but they have a neat little button you can toggle here called Auto Skill. This just fires off your Frenzy on cooldown without you needing to do it manually, so you can focus instead on things like your spells.
There's another way to do the auto skill. I cannot recall right now. I feel like it may be long clicking like a right long click. Can't recall for certain, and I'll check that whenever I can. But there is a way to auto skill from the main screen and not have to go into this window to do it. But this is another way to do it. That little toggle button that he's talking about there. And you may, consider whether you want to make something an auto skill or not, because if you have a way to interrupt the cast of an opponent, then you may want to save at least one of those interrupts back for the time at which they're going to be casting, so that you can time that better instead of it just going off randomly. Sometimes they get interrupted and sometimes they don't. So, another thought.
You can also type /autoskill space frenzy, and this will toggle it on and off as well. Now we have everything we need. We've got our dagger, our life tap, and Kipoerneke, our pet. So let's go freaking murder. Right behind us is the door out to North Road, because the Ixars have made a little home in the desert. The first thing we see is a crypt mummy. Cool, I can go murder this thing with no problem because I'm multi-class and super powerful. That did not go as well. That didn't go as well as planned. This is why it's important to consider NPCs before running out and attacking them, like me. There's two different ways to see how dangerous something is to you: from their nameplates, which show the color of the con, or from actually pressing C when looking at them, having them target. If we go back and look at that mummy, by pressing the letter C with the enemy targeted, I get the consider message or con message in deep red. Basically, don't mess with this. A crypt mummy scowls at you, ready to attack. What would you like your tombstone to say? Level 15.
One thing that I have a problem with on this, because I have trouble with colors to an extent. I don't know exactly. It's not color blindness exactly, but I have some issues. And so the gray and the white look the same to me. I don't know the difference there. We'll go ahead here.
This enemy is obviously way too hard for me. It's 14 levels higher than I am. As powerful as Kipoerneke is, he can't hard carry me against a red con. We can also tell from the message that this enemy is attack on sight, scowls at you ready to attack. Or similarly, this guy, Guard Bendil, who's jealous because he's a boring human and is glaring at me threateningly. So these red cons are too tough for us, so we need to go find something else that is more our level. What we're going to look for are cons that are white, even to my level, dark blue, slightly below my level, or even light blue, which is significantly below my level. Green and gray mobs are even further below my level, with gray basically being trivial. If I'm feeling...
You can also just look at the target window. It's very helpful. It tells you good information, tells you what class the creature is and what level they are. Obviously, if the creature is much higher level than you, that would be a hint as well. So if you're colorblind or something like that, you can just look at the level of the creature and then you kind of get an idea about like how much harder is this or easier is this than something that would be your level, right?
Feeling really bold, I can try yellow cons, which are a level higher above me. Especially as I gain strength, these would be great to kill as they would give you more experience. All of these around me right now are just a little bit too hard for me. They're all red cons. So we're gonna go over to this grassy area. You can immediately see all the con colors of the enemies just by looking at their nameplate, mostly yellow. This one is a white con. Since I'm level 1, nothing is below my level yet. But this is perfect. In order to start combat, I can either run up to them and auto attack with melee by pressing the letter Q one time, or by right-clicking an enemy once. You only have to do it one time and it'll continue to auto attack. Since we already set my auto skill for Frenzy, it's going off when I auto attack. I don't actually have to press it. You can actually see it in the hotbar depressing and showing the red cooldown as it's firing in itself. I'm also currently in my Berserker stance with my recover invocation going, which you can see in the hotbar as being pressed in, showing that they're active right now, and they're slowly taking away my endurance, and for Berserker stance, a little bit of my health for all the damage I'm doing. The main active thing I'm doing now then is actually my spells, trying to keep myself alive by using my life tap skill here.
So I'm going to pause for just a second to let you know that in the window in the upper left of this screen, you can see his name, his level, but you can also see the first bar there, which is his health, I believe. Second bar is the power. Third bar is endurance. I believe the fourth orange bar is experience. And then the fifth bar is AA experience. So just so y'all know, that's how that screen works there. Also, if he doesn't tell you about the loot window, I'll tell you something about that, and you'll see where he goes with it.
Because I'm dying pretty fast. But now that we're in a field of some appropriate leveled NPCs, and we want some vengeance, let's start the slaughter. As I've gone about killing in mass, this loot window has popped up showing the spoils of my bloodthirst. Loot in EverQuest Legends means that every kill will automatically populate the window with any loot as soon as something is killed, and coin loot will automatically go into your inventory. But now we can actually add to that coin total directly from the loot window because maybe we don't want to fill up our bags with a ton of beetle parts. In the loot window, we have the option to loot, merge, store, or sell. For our purposes, all we really will be doing right now is looting or selling. By clicking the sell button, I immediately sell the loot for vendor value directly from the loot window.
I'm going to pause for just a second because if you click the store, if it's an item that can go into your trade skill depot, then it will go into your trade skill depot. So that's something pretty cool. That's its default, right? If it's a trade skill item, it'll go into your trade skill depot. If it's not, it goes into something called the Dragon's Hoard. You have to access the Dragon's Hoard from a bank, just like anything that would go into your normal storage in a bank. But it, obviously it fills up. I can't recall if it's maybe 50 items, something like that, that you can put in the Dragon's Hoard. What I found was it may be a good idea to empty the Dragon's Hoard at the bank or into your bank fairly regularly so that you have room to continue looting things when you're out and about, because it will not go into your bank with that store. It'll go into your Dragon's Hoard. So something to be aware of. Before I'm gonna see what else he goes into first before I continue.
Me all the money I need to buy my spells as I level up. Merging is a bigger thing, it's a bigger part of EverQuest Legends. I won't go into too much detail about it here, but basically it's merging the same two items of the same type to make that item stronger, and you can do that directly from the loot window as well. One other helpful quality of life feature they've added here is...
Okay, he doesn't seem to have gone into part of what I wanted to tell you, which is that you can auto loot, auto merge, or auto sell things. So if you have something pop up once, then you can, I believe, right click on the check mark button, and then you can set it to, always, every time that item is looted, it doesn't even show up in the window. It'll just go straight to your storage, or it'll just immediately merge, or however you want to do that. So you can have it, looted or whatever, and you don't have to continue to look at that item every time it comes up. So that's a very helpful tip. Someone had told me about whenever I was on closed beta. So keep that in mind. Really simplifies just adventuring in general, I would say. Also, this is an exceedingly long 6 minutes, and then it went up to 9 minutes. Very, very, very much longer wait time than I was expecting, for sure. Let me see if I can move this chat window so that I can see it a little bit better over here. Joan says, this looks very interesting. Ouch, I might need to get it too. $19.99 includes a month, yes. So that, yeah, when I purchased it using the pre-order, it was $19.99 for the game plus a month of membership. And that's in addition to the pre-order beta, which we were able to play in as soon as you purchased the pre-order. So now at this point, I'm not sure what that looks like. That's what it looked like at the time. All right, we're going to go forward in this a little bit.
Is on the map. To open the map, you just press M. The map is pretty much what you would expect. You can zoom in, zoom out, scroll around and everything like that. This is a bit different because this is actually from a map editor, which was originally in EverQuest, but now has been adapted here. And so you'll see some of these lines are drawn by EverQuest themselves or from other people. My map comes from a third party where you can download a whole map pack that has all these labels that show all the different people on them. Now, one thing you're not going to see on this map, but you will on the next map that I'm going to show you here, is if you have the tracking skill in EverQuest, like basically if you're ranger, bard, druid, you will be able to see enemy little dots on the map that show you where they are.
All right, I'm going to pause that because it looks like we're loading in now. So I'm going to switch back over to my EverQuest Legends screen over here so that you guys can see what's going on. Move all this stuff back out of here. There we are. And now you can see it for yourselves. You have to create a character. And it says, welcome to EverQuest Legends. This is a multi-class game. As you create your character, you can choose one primary class and one secondary class from the tabs in the class section. At level 10, you will unlock a third class slot. You will be able to utilize the class loadout system once in game to create and adjust class combinations. Please note that upon reaching level 11, your primary class and deity will become locked and can then only be changed by completing specific achievements to unlock other classes and deities. However, your second and third classes have no restrictions and can be changed at any time. The class loadout system can be accessed through the inventory window or by using the default Keep of In. Each class tracks its own level and experience. Up to level 10, all of your classes will level together, and each receives the full experience you earn. After reaching level 11, only the classes currently being utilized will gain experience. Experience is never split. Each active class always receives the full amount it is eligible for. If you change your class loadout after level 10, your character level will adjust to the lowest level among the selected classes. Your experience will then advance your lowest classes until they match, after which they will level evenly again. We're going to select OK here. Okay, I believe that the tutorial is auto-selected here, and that's when it's a dark gray. So now, for me, I am going to do the same thing as I did before, which I want to be an ogre, and I want to be a berserker, bard, and shaman. So, I was female. And let's see if we can find, that's not my ogre. I need big, there we are. There's my ogre. All right. So we want to be an ogre. The ogre has options of beast lord, berserker, shadow knight, shaman, or warrior. Those are the only things that an ogre can be. So personally, I want to go with berserker. We're going to select that. About the Berserker, it says there are some in Norath that are born with an innate rage that, if controlled, can become a powerful weapon. They are called Berserkers. The Berserker is a master of the two-handed axe and of throwing weapons. To keep their bodies light and swift, Berserkers wear light chain armor. The light swift ogre incoming. Berserkers are fearsome fighters that possess inordinate amounts of strength and bravery. They lunge into battle swinging large two-handed axes or hurling, it says, throwing weapons at their prey. They carry huge axes because of the damage they deal and for the fear the weapons instill in the enemy. As great as a berserker's skill with the two-handed axe is, his skill with throwing weapons cannot be overlooked. As he becomes more powerful, he can infuse his rage into various thrown weapons, causing dire effects when they strike a foe. With the mastery of his innate rage, the berserker also gains the ability to become berserk, a deadly state which causes a great amount of damage as a berserker's blade swings with frenzy. As dangerous as berserkers are at these moments, they become more vulnerable to enemy attacks. Berserkers do not fear death, and they value speed and agility over personal defense. The berserker is at his best within a group of friends and adventurers that allow him to unleash his full anger on an enemy without interruption. When standing within arm's reach of his enemy, the Berserker is one of the masters of offense, crippling and maiming with impressive speed and skill. And in situations where an enemy must be fought at a distance, the Berserker has the best throwing arm of any Lothian. Alright, so we want that as our primary class, Berserker, right there. Then we're going to choose our secondary class, and I want it to be a Bard. So first one here is Bard. And it says, Bards are jack-of-all-trades adventurers who use music to create a wide variety of magical effects. Though they often use melee weapons, bards are primarily a magic-using class with the ability to wear plate armor and wield many different types of weapons and instruments. Bards can do a little bit of everything. Their songs can regenerate health and mana, increased attack speed and accuracy, momentarily charm angry enemies, help friends, resist many types of damage, and even directly damage enemies. Bards are perhaps best known, however, for their ability to greatly increase the foot speed of their group. Bards have the unique ability to create multiple effects at once. By weaving different songs together, a bard can customize effects to any situation. This makes nimble fingers and quick thinking a must for those who want to play a bard. Bards do well both alone and in groups. With the right combination of songs, they can adapt to many different challenges. The bard is a great class for players who enjoy a wide variety of play options but are quick to adapt to a changing situation. Okay, so we have our Berserker Bard, and now I'm going to enter the name, which is going to be Kipoerneke. And hopefully, we spell it right. You want to look carefully, make sure you get your name right, okay? Alright, so we got Kipoerneke, the Berserker Bard right here. It's a female. Now, we can change its appearance if we want to at this point. Select appearance, and last time I did this, we didn't have a lot of options because it was still in the pre-order beta. This was the one that I chose last time, but not the one that I chose the first time. I don't know which one I chose the first time. Maybe this one. I think it was this one that I chose in the closed beta. I did appreciate the beautiful green hair. This other one that I chose in closed beta or in pre-order beta looked like this, and it doesn't have the same effect on the hair. It's interesting because on the ogre you can't choose the hair color and all of those things, and I wasn't able to on pre-order beta either. So unfortunately, we have to make decisions based on the whole thing at once for the ogre. The question is, do I want that lovely face, or do I want the green hair? I'm going to be seeing the green hair a lot more often than I'm going to be seeing the beautified face. So I think that I'm going to go with this one just so that I can get that hair. Isn't she lovely? Alright, now, so with that in mind, I think I'm going to go ahead and enter the world as it is. And that'll take us into the tutorial. The tutorial has these boots of the long road, I believe is what they're called. And so you definitely want to do the boots or the tutorial so that you can get that boots of the long road. Obviously they're boots, but also they increase your speed. So they're very helpful. The last time that I did this, I merged them a number of times before I went in, because I wanted to be able to have those stats continue to be useful for quite some time, and I think that was a worthwhile endeavor. It doesn't take too long to increase their. There's a whole lot of flickering going on the screen right now, but anyway. But to increase their power, it doesn't take too much. I think I'd gotten them up to level 4 before I went on. Alright, so here we are, and the first thing I'm going to do is mouse out a little bit because I like to kind of have that over-the-shoulder look going on. This is the character window right here, and where you can see a lot of your stats and things like that, but you can also see your bags. We've got backpacks. Now the weird part is, we're going to right-click on the backpack to open it or close it. Again, it's a little difficult to remember which things do you right-click to open, for instance, and which things do you right-click to, destroy. seems like, you know, it's just something you have to get used to, like. Okay, so we're starting out with an axe here, which we can click Alt, and we can see about this axe. We can click Alt and left click, and then we can see this screen here. This is also how you merge an item. If we had 2 of these dual axes, for instance, we could place one of them in this part where it says place item, and then we could merge it by clicking the button beside it. I don't currently have my UI on here, so this is just all over the place as far as I'm concerned. But I will deal with that later. It's not important right now. Above the chemist says, Q took me about 15 minutes, but I've spent about the same amount of time trying to load into the tutorial. Based on how fast you loaded into the tutorial, I'm wondering if I have an issue. I don't know, because it took me a long time to get through the initial queue. So, I mean, maybe it's just, I'm not sure. Can't tell you. Hopefully you'll be able to get in, at reasonable time. Don't know what to say. Oh, now look, we have more information here, I think, than we did on the pre-order data. It says this item is placeable in yards, guild yards, houses, and guild halls. I didn't actually see any reference to guild halls and whatnot in the beta as far as I could discern. But I think that this has a little more information, or it may just be because it started here. We'll see. Let's X off of there, and I'm going to get out of this window, and we're going to move forward. Now this, over here, if you guys can see it, it's an extended target window. Well, it's actually just the regular target window. I don't seem to have the extended target window on my screen. That's unfortunate at the least. Alright, let's go ahead though and look at these basic movement keys. We've got W for move forward, S for move backward, A for turn left, and D for turn right. Now that's all very normal stuff. One thing you'll notice is that it doesn't have a strafe setting. So if you press the Q, for instance, what you might want to do to, you know, naturally in most games you do that to strafe left. In this, it enters you into combat or out of combat if you're stuck in combat. It's an important button, but no strafing with it unless you set it to do that in your options. Okay, page up pitches your view up, page down pitches your view down. The home button pitches your view to the center, and spacebar jumps, X, ducks, and crouches. That's all default stuff. Howsoever, you can also pitch your view with the mouse. So if you right click, okay, if you want to move the view and not move yourself, then you use the left button. And so I'm using the left button and moving around, right? But if you do want to turn your body as well, then you can right click and move in the direction that you want. So right clicking is for moving your body, left click is for moving your screen, okay? All right, now also, if you do the middle button, it does this. It sends you into auto run, okay? I think that numlock is the other one. But here we go. Enter, raise chat bar and lower chat bar. Shift plus left arrow is move cursor left. Shift plus right arrow, move cursor right. And this is all in the chat window, by the way. Shifting page up, scrolls the text window up. Shifting page down, scrolls the text window down. Swimming. This says to get out of the water, swim to an edge, then pitch up, move forward. Yes, it can be very tricky to get out of the water. So, good information. It's not as intuitive as you might think that it would be. Okay, now, this is the first time I've actually been able to use the main chat, because I've been streaming this whole time, and I didn't have the chat window up because we were not supposed to let people know about things that were in beta and not in, not available in the game itself at the time. So I actually get to see the main chat now. I'm definitely going to have this whole thing rearranged after this session, probably. So now we've run up to Doug over here. Now you'll notice in the bags, sorry, that was the B button, by the way. This B opens your bags, so we can sort that real fast, even though it'll be different later. I think it's, oh yes, not C for this, it's I to get our character window up. In EverQuest 2, it is C, but here it's I. Okay, so you see that we have the letter for Doug. Have I looked at that before? Lore, handwritten letter for Doug. Now, I think there's a way that we can read it. Yes, we right-click it, and again, that did not destroy it. You'll note it says, "Dearest Doug, I found a new recruit and sent them to you with this letter. I hope you will train and help prepare them for what is to come. With love, D." Okay. Done and done. Now it says, "You've found Doug and you're close enough to interact with him. You have a letter in your inventory that is addressed to him, and you should give it to him. Press I to open your inventory window. On the right side of your inventory window, you should find an item that looks like a piece of parchment and is named Letter for Doug. To see an item's name, you can either hover your cursor over the item to display the item's name, or you can hold right-click on the item to view its description and properties. Once located, right-click on Letter for Doug in your inventory to read its contents, and when you're finished reading, press Done to close the window. To hand the letter to Doug, left-click on the parchment in your inventory to pick the item up onto your cursor. Then left-click on Doug to open the trade window. Please press give to confirm handing over the item and to start your journey. Okay, hand Doug his letter and then click OK to continue. So, we're going to press I. We're going to arrange this window so we can easily drop it on him. And we're going to grab this letter for Doug, not the gore-splattered note, the letter for Doug. And we'll give it to him. Now, if you accidentally do give him the gore-splattered note or whatever, it's not a problem. He'll just give it back to you. You'll still have it. Your first quest. You've completed your first quest. Now, to continue speaking with Doug, read what he said in the main chat window. Well, that's going to be a little tricky because we have a lot of stuff going by here, but it's right there. NPCs have triggers for additional dialogue options that will be visible in your chat window when talking to them. Anytime you see NPC response text in your chat window that is blue and is surrounded by square brackets like this, there are additional dialogue options available. You can left-click directly on that blue text or type the blue text in your chat window to explore the NPC's dialogue. So, then it says continue to talk with Doug, as he's likely to provide you with the next step in your quest. You click OK, and Doug had said, he says, Doug carefully reads over the letter before looking up at you and responding, "A new recruit, eh? Welcome aboard. Guess we'll need to get you up to speed before we send you on your way. Once you've gotten your legs under you, let's talk." So let's click Let's Talk. Doug says, "Let's stretch out those legs a bit. Go talk to my old man in the cave to the south. He probably needs something. He usually does." Alright, now, navigation. While this town is small, Norath is large. Knowing the methods of navigation is a crucial skill for all legends. There are 3 main navigational tools. Map. Pressing M opens the map window. You're represented on the map as a triangle, and your position is updated in real time. There are also lots of map visualization options that you'll want to explore, and let's show that. Here's your M. Now, as you can see, the map is not fleshed out like it was on that other person's stream there, because I haven't downloaded any third-party map information. So we just have your basic map right here, and this is what it looks like. So on this, we don't have any indications really of what anything is. You've just got lines for where things like walls are, right? So, okay, that's the map. Compass. The compass window can also be very helpful in navigating around the world. The default key binding for the compass is Alt-D, which we'll press. Alt-D. There it is. Very useful compasses are. When opened for the first time, the compass usually appears in the top left corner of your screen. In my case, it appeared in the top middle of my screen. Alright. Okay, let's see here. Next is Find. The Find feature allows for easy navigation to points of interest in an area, including NPCs and paths to other areas. You can open the Find window by pressing F or clicking Find in the top right of the map window. So press F, and here we have a Find window that we could choose someone and have a little path leading us to them rather. When opened, the Find window shows a list of all findable paths, and clicking on one has several effects to help direct you along that path. Your character will point directly toward the destination. A followable yellow navigation path will appear in front of you, connecting you to the destination, and your map will also be marked with the path. Any in-progress find route can be ended by arriving at the destination, pressing F again, or clicking the End Find button in your game window. Find your way to Old Doug in caves to the south of your current position. Click OK to continue. We're going to click OK. We're going to get out of this, and I suppose I'll show you the find feature. We want Old Doug, right? So, now you notice that it turned me around right away, and probably there should be a yellow path. There it is. There's also, as you can see, a red line on the map itself. So you've got an X marks the spot situation and a red line. You can also click things on the map, and it will do the same effect, basically. Okay, now, as an ogre, you're huge, so you have to duck to go into places like that, where we just then went. Now, I failed at navigation. I've been playing EverQuest 2 in the interim, and it's very different as far as the controls go and how sensitive things are. So here we are at Old Doug, targeting and hailing. You found Old Doug. To engage with Old Doug, we need to first target him by simply left-clicking on him. Targeting is crucial still for many things, particularly interacting with NPCs and for combat. With Old Doug targeted, you'll notice that you get some information about him in your target window. Let's click in. There he is, Old Doug. Which is located toward the bottom right of your screen. Specifically, we can see that Old Doug is a level 5 warrior and that he has 100% health. Now, to talk to Old Doug, you just need to hail him by pressing the H key. Let's do that. Hailing NPCs engages them in conversation and is the primary way to receive quests. Chat with Old Doug. Click OK to continue. Here's an OK for you. Old Doug says, oh ho. We've been getting more and more new faces around here. It does my old eyes some good. Anyways, did my son send you to help me? And you'll notice that it's blue text and it's in brackets, so let's click on it and see what he says. Old Doug says, well, you see, these old bones ain't quite what they used to be, so getting up and down to the merchant gets harder and harder as the winters pass. If you could head down there and pick up my weekly supplies for me, it'd be most appreciated. Let's click supplies. Old Doug says, oh, nothing unusual, just some food, bedding, and some shiny new boots. I imagine that Dougina, the merchant down at Meek's Depot, has it all packaged up for me like usual. You'll just have to go pick it up and bring it on back on up to me. Alright, so let's go do it. Dougina over at Meek's Depot, he says. We're gonna come jump off of here. We got hurt, you notice, from that little bit of a fall. Down to 83 health. But it's not a big deal. You heal up quickly, and it's no big issue. Merchanting. You've made it to the store. Most merchants don't like to talk much about anything other than buying and selling goods. Talking to a merchant is like talking to any other NPC. Simply target them and press H to hail them. To see what the merchant has for sale, or to sell items to them, right-clicking on the merchant opens the merchant window. To buy an item, select the item in the merchant window, then press the buy button. To sell items to the merchant, right-click on the item in your inventory or within your bags, then click the sell button. Buy the supplies for Old Doug from the merchant. Click OK to continue. Let's do it. Let's come over here and right-click on her, select package for Old Doug, and then we're going to click buy. It costs us 0 copper, which is great because we have 0 copper. That's exactly how much we have. So we buy it, we click done. She does not seem to get those back, by the way, so you can only do this quest one time as far as I can tell. People talked about doing it multiple times, but it did not seem to be something that I was able to do at the very least. So I ran right into the wall there. So we got our package for Old Doug, and we're making our way slowly back over to him. I think that the ogre feels like they're moving slower than other races. I don't know if they are or not. Alright, here's Old Doug. Let's open up the inventory window and see if we can find his package. There it is. We'll dump it onto his body. And then we click Get. Alright. Your first quest reward. There are a number of types of rewards for completing quests, including coin, items, experience, and faction standing. Faction affects how NPCs react to you, so it's wise to pay attention to factions. For this quest, you've been awarded a pair of boots of the long road and some experience. Open your inventory and locate the first piece of equipment. Your first piece of equipment. Here's the inventory. Let's move this out of the way. You can check the details of your new boots by either hovering your cursor over them or holding right-click on them. So here they are. We hover over and it just shows us that. But if we click Alt while hovering over, you know what? It's because I have it set to do that, I just realized. So it did load my UI, obviously, somewhat into this. Some of my settings. White Owl 1061 says, "Hi, I'm jealous. I'm stuck at work for a couple more hours." Aw, man. Sorry to hear that. So if you click Alt, if you have it set to that, then you'd have to click Alt. Otherwise, it would just show this same screen to you if you hovered over it. So, hovering your cursor over them or holding right-click on them. Okay, so you press and hold right-click and it opens this screen here. Either method will show you the item's properties, including who can use it, in what slot it can be worn, if it's tradable, what statistics, stats it may have, and any effects on it. To equip your new footwear, left-click the boots to pick them up on your cursor, and then left-click on the feet slot in your inventory window. So, left-click on. Now, I think that since we don't have any on, I think we can actually click on the axe up here. We can, and it just auto-equips to the correct slot. So, whatever your character icon is up there above the destroy button, you can just click into that if you don't have anything in the slot yet. Jones says, "Is this the beta? I thought the game was released." It is released. Is it saying it's beta somewhere? Definitely shouldn't be saying that. Do I have the beta tag up somewhere? Not beta. Okay. These boots have an activatable effect that grants you increased running speed. Top left. Okay, so the beta tags up. That's a problem. Let's fix that. Oh, it sure is. Excellent. Thank you for catching that. Let me see if I can fix it. There we go. Gone now? Hopefully. Alright. Let's see here. These boots have an activatable effect that grants you increased running speed. To activate this effect, simply right-click on the equipped boots in your inventory screen. The spell effect will appear under your health bar, and your movement speed should be noticeably increased. White Owl says, "Yep, you're clean." Excellent. Thank you very much. Note that you can also have a couple of bags in your inventory. You can view their contents by right-clicking on the bags to open each bag's window. Click OK or press OK to continue. So now, about bags for a moment. You have 8 bag slots, so you can have 8 bags that you carry around with you, and each of them can have however many slots that your bag has, right? If you put a bag inside a bag, you can carry it, but you can't then open the bag inside the bag. It's not like infinite storage space. The amount of slots you have is just the amount in the inventory window of those bags, if that makes sense. Alright. Now, get out of there. So, what you want to do is you want to put these on one of your hotbars, ideally. I don't have the bar up that I prefer because, again, I don't have the UI set up properly. But for now, I can put these boots, put them over here in one of these windows. I don't want to assign a macro. Just if I can remember how I did this. Yes, I left-clicked, long-click, and then I just drag it over. So you long-click until it appears on your cursor, and then you can drag it over. And now, with it there, we can just click on it and get the effect, just like that. And you'll see the effect appear right above your character stats thing here, your health and power and all those things. So right above it is the effect that we just put on, which is the Spirit of the Traveler right here. It says, fills you with the spirit of travel, increasing movement speed for 36 minutes. Any attack or spell cast will break the enchantment. So getting in a fight will break it. You have to reassign that. But it's useful for traveling from one place to another. So there you are. Now, the old Doug quest you can't really do again. Let's hail him again. He says, "Oh ho, we've been getting more and more new faces around here. It does my old eyes some good." So you see, it's the same thing as he said previously. Let's see here. Earlier, he had said, "Oh ho, thank you kindly. This should keep me going for a while yet. Here, take my old boots. Worn they may be, but they're much nicer than bare feet. Take a look at them and try them on and make sure they fit. Then go and see if my son has some more work for you." He always needs just one more, even after you spend all day helping him. So let's click more work and see what he has to say. All right, old Doug says, no, I don't need anything else. Go ask my son Doug for more work." So that's where we're going to head. Son Doug over by the docks over there. We're just going to jump out because it doesn't bother me too much to get damaged in this area. Now, tricky part, getting out of the water. Even when you don't swim very far, it can be a problem. You have to kind of look pretty far up. Okay, here we have Doug. Let's see. We're going to click on him, left click, and we're going to hail him. Doug says, "Hail and well met, Kipoerneke. If you'd like to help me with a couple of errands, let's talk. I can't recall, but if you've already helped my father and still need more work, just say the word. Or perhaps you're finished here and want to go home. So let's first click let's talk." He says, "Let's stretch out those legs again. A bit. Go talk to my old man in the cave to the south. He probably needs something. He usually does." Now that's the first thing that we did. So we've already done that. Let's now select more work, which is what we were told to do by old Doug. Doug says, "Finished up with Pops, eh? Good. Thanks for taking those supplies up to him. Oh, I see he gave you his old boots. I hope they fit, and you've had a chance to check them for holes. Could you do just one more thing for me? Go up the stairs east of here and check on my grandfather. You'll know him when you see him." Now you can identify what is east by your handy-dandy compass. So these would be the stairs to the east. And we're going to go in through this little gateway right here with the gate kind of knocked off. And we're going to talk to Dead Doug right here. Click on him and then hail him. Dead Doug says, "Hail yourself, Ogre. I hope you're here to help. This is getting out of control." So I'm going to click on help. Dead Doug says, "In case you can't see, I've got a bunch of old bones rattling about up here. In my youth, I could drive them off easily. Alas, not so much anymore. Say, a young whippersnapper like you could help me out by knocking a couple of these skeletons about. That would be legendary. Bring me the skull from one of the more rambunctious skeletons, and another skull from one of the fragile ones." Now if we click on fragile ones, Dead Doug says, "Yeah, they're an odd bunch. They're very fragile to abilities or spells, but almost impervious to conventional melee attacks. You should use any offensive abilities or spells you have to take care of them. Hop to it, human. I don't want to stand around looking at these ugly things for another lifetime." When it comes to combat, there are a few things every legend needs to know. Difficulty, targeting, and attacking. Targeting. Left click on an NPC to target them. Most attacks, spells, and abilities only affect your current target. Attacking. Once you have your opponent targeted, you can press the auto attack key Q, or by right-clicking on the enemy to swing your melee weapons. Auto attacking is an action that may be toggled on and off. Your player window, where you can see your health, will flash red when it is toggled on. Your auto attacks happen automatically as long as you're within melee range of your target. You're able to perform other actions while auto attack is toggled on, like using skills and abilities or casting spells. Difficulty, considering. You can tell relative difficulty of your target by their level in relation to your own. Considering your target provides a simple color-coded way to determine general difficulty. You can see these colors by looking at the name over their heads, the ring at their feet when you have them targeted, and or from the chat response from considering the target by pressing C. Gray, extremely easy, significantly lower level than you and will yield no experience. Green, very easy, much lower level than you, but will yield a tiny amount of experience. Light blue, easy, a few levels lower than you, but will provide a bit of experience. Dark blue, moderately easy. Only a couple of levels lower than you, will provide moderate experience. White, challenging. The same level as you, will provide good experience. Yellow, difficult. A few levels higher than you will provide great experience. Red, very difficult. Significantly higher level than you, but will yield excellent experience. Click OK to learn about skills and abilities. Many characters have physical actions, abilities, and skills they can use in and out of combat. To see your currently available actions, open your actions window by pressing L. Looks like this. By clicking on the EQL button and selecting actions, or by clicking on the sword icon adjacent to the EQL button. So now, it's important to note that the sword icon is virtually impossible to distinguish, but if you mouse over it and hold there for a second, then you can see what these things are. So there's actions, inventory, alternate advancement, achievements, options, and help. So you can do it this way, or you can click on the EQL button and you can go to where it says actions right here and select actions. While I'm here, I want to open up my extended target window, because that, to me, is a very important window. It shows everyone that you have aggro with. So not just necessarily the people that you're actively fighting or that are near you, but anyone that you have aggro with at all. So, very good. If you're a threat, you're covered in that extended target window. Okay. The actions window contains left clickable buttons for all actions, skills, and abilities your character currently has access to. New actions will appear as you grow more powerful or switch classes. Left click on any of the action entries in the window, not the action button itself, to see the description and properties of the individual actions. So we can click on begging, for instance. It says this ability causes you to ask your current target for money. This can be seen as a threatening gesture. The macro command is doability begging. So it does tell your macro commands down here, which is super cool, because I don't know that I was aware of that, although I had kind of figured it out a bit. Interesting. It even has the stances and things like that. That's super cool. All right. Okay, where were we then? You can perform each action by left-clicking the corresponding button. You can also assign actions to the hotbar in the bottom left of your screen by left-clicking and holding an action button to have the button appear attached to your cursor, and then left-clicking to place the button onto one of your hotbar slots. This will allow you to perform that action by pressing the corresponding hotkey, number key row, by default. Okay, click OK to learn about spells and magic. Sure, let's go. Many legends will yield powerful magic spells during their adventures. Wield, not yield. That would be interesting. You may already have a selection of spells ready to be used. To cast a spell, you must first describe the spell into your spellbook and then memorize the spell onto your spellbar on the left side of your screen. While your spellbook is boundless, the number of slots available on your spellbar is not, so choosing which spells you have memorized at a given time will be an important strategy as you grow in power. Scribing spells. To scribe a spell, locate the spell scroll in your inventory and right-click it. You will automatically sit down, open your spellbook window, and start scribing the spell. Scribing spells takes a bit of time, and a thin progress bar will appear at the bottom of the spellbook window. Once the spell has finished scribing, the spell's icon and name will appear in your spellbook. Memorizing spells. To prepare a spell for casting from the spell bar on the left-hand side of your screen, right-click on an empty spell gem to open a context menu with all your scribed spells categorized by type. Then left-click on a spell to begin the memorization process. This process also takes a moment, and a progress bar will appear at the bottom of the spellbook window. Of note, while you're sitting down, you're more likely to be attacked by creatures, so keep that in mind. Even if they're gray guys, they're more likely to attack you if you're sitting down. Alternatively, you can memorize spells from the spellbook by left-clicking on a spell icon to attach the icon to your cursor, and then left-clicking on an empty spell slot on your spell bar. Casting spells. Once spells are scribed and memorized, simply left-click on a spell icon in your spell bar to cast. Most spells require an appropriate target. You can also assign spells to the hotbar in the bottom left of your screen by left-clicking and holding a spell icon from your spell bar to have it appear attached to your cursor, and then left-clicking to place the button onto one of your hotbar slots. This will allow you to cast that spell by pressing the corresponding hotkey, number key row by default. Gotta think about that one for a moment. Alright. You can view the details of a spell from either your spellbook window, K, or from your spell bar by right-clicking and holding on a spell's icon. Click OK to continue. But also, you can click Alt as you go over it, and it will tell you all about it that way as well. Alright, click OK here. Now, we've got to get fragile pets and rambunctious pets schools. Now you'll notice there are only 2 fragile pets that spawn at a time, and there are 3 rambunctious pets at a time. You can kill the rambunctious pets with melee. It's best to use spells on the fragile pets. Okay, so currently what we have is this right here. It's Chant of Battle, and if we look at that, it says a simple tune that increases the strength, dexterity, and armor class of group members, but it only lasts for 12 seconds. So, we can click it, but it won't last very long. Not a lot that we can do about that yet, but I think we click V, and it'll take us over to our alternate advancement window. And if we go over to class, we have something called Symphonic Aura. It's currently disabled. Expendable charge is 1. It says this ability is disabled. Purchase the 0-cost rate to enable its effects. When enabled, this passive ability allows one bard song to auto-pulse. In order for a song to be eligible, it must have no mana cost, have no cooldown, and be a non-targeted area of effect song. Any song that meets these criteria cannot be played manually while the ability is turned on. This ability chooses the first eligible song, starting from your final spell gem and working backward. Requirements level 1, no previous ability requirements. So, we want to go ahead and we want to get this as soon as possible if you've got the bard, if you're a bard, right? So we train this. Are you sure you want to spend 0 ability points to train in Symphonic Aura enabled? Why, yes we do. So we definitely want to enable that so that we'll continue to cast Chant of Battle every time it goes off. And you see that it did immediately cast that. Okay, we're going to click done. We have to have 3 AA points before we can get the next one. And the next one will allow us to have 3 things casting like that simultaneously. So we can come down here to the last slot. We can right click that. And the only thing that we have is the Chant of Battle. So it's a statistic buff, armor class, and then Chant of Battle. The other way to do that is you click K, you sit down and you click on the Chant of Battle. And you drag it over. Unfortunately, I already have it on the bar right now. So we come over here and right click it on the bar and it will take it off of the bar. Now we can click it in this book right here and we can just place it down there in the empty spell slot at the very end so that continues to cast over and over again. White Owl says Symphonic Aura works on the bottom spell gems, not the top ones. Right. It's actually the first one that occurs. So it if it's the only one that you have in your spell gem, even if it's at the top, it'll continue to go. It's just like the next one in order that it can apply, it applies to. So, okay, all right, got that, and we can move forward now. We've got that going pretty constantly because Symphonic Aura is going to continue to cast that. All right, we don't have any spells. We do have stances down here. We've got Balanced Stance, Evasive Stance, Mage Hunter Stance, Ranged Stance, Berserker Stance, and Striker Stance. We've also got Offensive Stance. Then we've got Invocations, Inviolable Invocation, Overchannel Invocation, Inversion, Recovery, and Unyielding. Now let's see here. White Owl says might want to make a toggle on and off button for Symphonic Aura. Comes in handy later. You know, I was thinking that what might be useful is to have a macro set up with melody so that it toggles off Symphonic Aura, and you could have melody run for the things that aren't being used with Symphonic Aura. So maybe you could click that. And then at the end of it, it turns it back on. So you toggle off Symphonic Aura, cast the spells, and then toggle Symphonic Aura back on. And it feels like you could get a lot more spells involved casting not quite instantly, but casting very quickly. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that it might work decently to do that. I don't know. Okay, so I don't really have any particular interest in these particular right now. I'm just going to use Berserker stance, and you can only have one stance up and one invocation up at a time. So we don't really have any spells right now, so it doesn't matter too much what we do as far as that goes. But we have this health regen excluding out of combat. Bonus regen is doubled with 25% resistance increased to loss of control from fear, mesm, charm. While out of combat, the regeneration modifier of this invocation is active, even if this invocation is not. Maybe that's alright for the moment. We'll put that on for now. Okay. Now, everything is different on this screen than what I'm used to. And as mentioned, oh yes, okay. I had told you guys there's a way to auto skill. So we right click and we can click, like you right click and hold until this window pops up. And then you can click auto activate with a left click. And now it'll go off every time. And I don't know that I necessarily want to keep that there like that. I think I probably did. Just before I had it where Kick and Frenzy were on auto, and Slam was something that I had to click on purpose to encrypt him. And I do kind of like that. So now we got this fragile pet skull right here. Now I told you about auto looting things. So you come over here to the loot button where we have the check mark. We right click on that and we can set it to auto loot, auto merge, or auto store, or auto sell, right? What I want to do for this is auto loot. Now that won't pop up anymore for the fragile pet skulls. It'll just go into our inventory. We've got a little bit of room in the inventory, and so I'm going to go ahead and gather up all of the skulls, and that way they will have a moment to re-pop while I get the rest of them, and then I can turn into Dead Doug a couple of times. Alright. By the way, these tombstones here are pretty cool too. I'll show you those in a moment. Let's go ahead and finish off these rambunctious pets. And this time, we have a rambunctious pet skull that dropped, and so that pops up again. Just right click on the loot, and then we'll do auto loot on that as well. White Owl says I made separate buttons for Melody and Symphonic Aura. Makes sense to me. I definitely want to experiment with using Melody and Symphonic Aura in the future. I didn't get to the point where I needed to on the closed beta or on the pre-order beta, but I assume that I will on this. Now we've got one of the skulls that's ended up in here, and the rest are in the other thing here. So we're gonna give him one of the rambunctious skulls and one of these skulls, fragile pet skulls, because he wants one of each thing, right? Maybe I can anyway. Let's see. Rambunctious pet skull, yes. And this is a fragile pet skull. There we go. For some reason it wasn't working the first time, but we got it this time. Alright, now we click give. And Dead Doug says, Dutcher, I knew him well when we were both still alive. He's just as rambunctious as ever, too. Don't worry, I'll put him back together soon enough. Here, take these boots. They need a new soul. Ha! A new soul, get it? You kids these days just don't appreciate good humor. He trails on, having lost his train of thought. We got some experience, we completed the trade. Let's click on train of thought. Dead Doug says, oh, what? I don't remember what I was going to say. What are you going to do with the 2 pairs of boots? You silly goose. Back in my day, I used to merge my extra gear together to make it extra strong. I doubt you're as great an adventurer as I was in my prime, but maybe. I bet you can't merge those 2 pairs of boots together. Give it a shot, then go back to my grandson and tell him you've finished checking on me or whatever. Okay. You now have 2 boots with a long weight in your inventory. Merge your 2 sets of boots. To merge your boots, find both pairs in your inventory, one of which may be equipped, Open the detailed information window on one of your boots by holding right-click on the boots or by Alt-left-clicking on them. Then locate the second pair of boots and left-click on it to pick the item up onto your cursor. Place the boots from your cursor into the green square labeled Place Item inside the first item's detailed information window by left-clicking on Place Item. Once placed, left-clicking on the Merge Item button will consume one pair of your boots and upgrade the other pair to Boots of the Long Road +1. Upgrade your boots. Click OK to continue. Click OK, but I want to go and check on the currencies here. So we went to storage and currencies. If we can get some Mote of Infinitesimal potency or something like that, then we may want to use that before we use our boots copies here. So I think I'm gonna wait because I think we can get those motes from these guys. I don't recall for sure. But first, let's come back over to him because we do still have some more things we can trade in, one more set. So take this and drop it on him. That's a rambunctious skull. And we'll take this one, which is fragile skull, and we'll drop those both on him, give it to him again, and as you can see, we've completed the trade again, and now we have more boots. In addition to the first one we got, and the second one we got from the quest, we now have a third one from doing the quest again. So we can continue to do this and level boots up. Why would I need 4 boots? Item merging. You've received a quest reward, but it's just another pair of boots. You received a second pair of boots of the long road in your inventory, identical with the ones you already have. We already read this. So we're going to click OK here. Well, did I already read this? Maybe I didn't. Alright, hold on. Let's see. Legends can merge 2 identical items together to create an upgraded item, which is a staple of becoming more powerful. To merge items from your inventory, open the detailed information window of one of your duplicate items by holding right-click on the item or by Alt-left-clicking on the item. Then locate the second item in your inventory and left-click on it to pick the item up onto your cursor. Place the item from your cursor onto the green square labeled Place Item. So it is the same thing that I have read already. Inside the first item's detailed information window by left-clicking on Place Item. Once placed, pressing the Merge Item button will consume the second item, upgrading the other to a +1 item. Any wearable item can be merged with another copy of the same item all the way up to +10. Each upgrade improves all the stats and bonuses of the base item, and can even grant new and additional stats and bonuses to the item. However, each upgrade requires more and more items to perform. 2 non-upgraded items combine into a +1, while 2 +1 items combine into a +2 item, and 2 +2 items create a +3, and so forth. You can fractionally merge items, and upgrade progress toward the next upgrade is shown when the item's detailed information inside the item's detailed information window to the right of the Merge Item button. You can also find motes of potential during your adventures. Those are the ones I was talking about, which can be merged with any item, acting as a copy of that item. Keep an eye out for these motes, as they are fairly valuable. Merge your 2 copies of Boots of the Long Road to create Boots of the Long Road +1. Merge your 2 sets of boots, click OK to continue. Again, I'm not going to do that yet due to the desire to get some of those motes. The ones we're getting here will be very low level, but we should be able to use it at least once to upgrade them to a first level. And that'll save one of the pair of boots to be able to use later. I fell into the hole. It's a whole problem. There we go. Rambunctious pet. And we just got a level as well. Been granted the following spell, Chords of Dissonance, it says. I didn't notice that before. But we're going to go ahead and beat up on some of these rambunctious pets right now. Didn't see any motes fall out in that, but let's see. We'll make sure. Press I, go to storage, go to currencies. Nada. Alright. I do have another spell that I can use. It's Courts of Dissonance. It's a damage over time magic spell. We can look at it from this window by pressing Alt. I didn't know if we'd be able to or not. So, Chords of Dissonance, again, it's a 12-second spell, radius of 30, uses stringed instruments as its skill, magic resistance minus 100, reflectable, yes, clashing notes that cause 2 damage to up to 8 nearby enemies that are not moving. So it is a damage over time that that is an AoE, basically. Alright, let's sit down and scribe that on in. Now, that won't cast right now because I have Symphonic Aura, and I don't have 2 slots to work with. Do I have 3 AA? No, I have 0 AA. So, I cannot move that to the next step, and therefore, I would have to choose between being able to cast Chords of Dissonance or a Chant of Battle. Because I have on Symphonic Aura, I can't cast Chords of Dissonance because I don't have enough slots. So if I try, it'll give me a message. I tried doing it, we go to combat, it says this song cannot be played while Symphonic Aura is enabled. And that's what White Owl was talking about here, where you can toggle on and off Symphonic Aura. So if I toggled off Symphonic Aura, then I could cast Chords of Dissonance. But as it is, no bueno. Let's look at these gravestones real fast. Dying the Diligent. Let's see. Dying the Diligent. And for whom? For whom? I don't know. Do not speak the language. Then we have Benelin the Pathweaver. We are as lost children without him. Zektia the Tardy, even to the grave. You'll notice his is the only one not filled. So we got his bones in there, but certainly no full body and no dirt. Then we have Here Lies Bashar, the All-Seeing. His eyes at last are sharp. Over here, Rest in Peace Fix, in the end, the role won. Here rots Mixu, the Bitter. Death was always in her wake. Here lies Straw, Snuffer of Worlds. Here rests Eridine the Green. His flaming sword was a beacon to all. Every time I see this, I keep thinking, I wonder if somewhere in the storyline we'll find out something about these people. I would be very curious, personally. Okay, let's have a look at what we're looking at right now. So we've got plenty of skulls. I may as well go ahead and start turning them in. I forgot to get rid of the one that was excess earlier, but let's go ahead and drop these on old Doug over here. I killed Rambunctious first, what a shame. Alright. Give those to him. And it's the same message as before. So, we'll give him another Rambunctious skull. And then we gotta find a fragile one. There's one. Give that to him. Now, we have left only 2 Rambunctious skulls. That's not useful. So let's, what we can do is we can click on it and then move it over to this button that says Destroy. It'll get rid of it, and if it had any value to it at all, then we would get some money for it. But it doesn't have any value, so we get no money. It's just the way that works. Now, also, moving stuff around in your inventory. If you press, let's say if you press Control, you only take one of the items. Otherwise, you have to choose something, right? If you press Shift, then you take the whole stack without having to choose how many. If you have stacked items, you can use those shortcuts. It's very, very helpful. Okay, so I still don't have any motes. I do have some more guys to kill over here though. So let's do that and see if we can get anything, because it will make this all go a little bit faster if we can get some of those motes. And I can show you at least one of the motes, and then I can show you how that works. It's actually the same as having a copy of the item. You just use the mote instead. Got a little bit of copper, believe it or not. You would think that a skeleton wouldn't really have much in the way of copper. Did get a Mote of Infinitesimal Potential at that time. So, let's see how that works. We open this up, we go to storage, we're gonna go to currencies where it stores that, click on it, withdraw it, and actually, I think we didn't have to do it like that. I think I could have opened up, well, I don't know, I think I could have opened up the window for the boots and done it that way. That's okay. We'll open up here, and then we take this mote and put it in the place item button. It says it's green. It's not especially green, you see, but they call it green because the outline has a very faint greenish tint, a little on the greenish gray side, but it's right beside the merge item button is the place item button. So we place our mote right there, and then we merge item. It says, are you sure you want to merge your boots with the long road with Mote of Infinitesimal Potential? Why, yes, of course we do. Let's do it. All right, now I think that we can't merge it again because the Mote of Infinitesimal Potential is just a baby mote, and it doesn't get your stuff up very high. I'll try it again. I can keep fighting until I get another one to drop, and we'll see if we can merge it again with the mote. I don't think so. But first, let's go ahead and deal with old dead Doug over here. So that's full of boots. So we've got a rambunctious skull, and I click around the buttons, and a fragile skull. We'll give those to him. Got our boots. Now, another couple, another set, if you will. We'll give those to him. And we got that quest reward window once again. Now we have mini boots, and we have this extra skull that we will destroy. Okay, we're up to 7 total pair of boots at the moment. Still don't have any more of those motes. And the only reason that I'm going to try to get another mote is just to see if it works, you know. I don't think that it does. I think it only raises it to the first level. But you know, one way to find out, right? So, it just counts as another set of boots, but it also counts as another of the spells. So you can level your spells up that way as well. So, something to keep in mind. Alright, let's see. What other information is there? You know, I went in here thinking there might be something cool inside the little mausoleum, and there isn't though. It's just a little building with a few skeletal bits randomly within it. Maybe it's Dead Doug's shrine, who knows? Okay, let's see. Now I could merge some of the boots in another window, and then that might be an interesting thing to do. You could use a mote to merge with the boots that you haven't merged yet with the ones that you ultimately want to merge together. So you could bring all of the things you're going to merge up to the next level, and then merge them together, and they count for more than if you just do them one at a time. So you could use the motes that way, but it would be time consuming for sure either way, because you're farming the skeletons, and they only repop periodically. I don't know if it's how many minutes it is between the repops on these. Oh look, we got our athletics up. Things like jumping around will also help with that. Right now though, I'm just going to see if I can get another mote. If I can, then I will try to merge it with the boots that I've already done it with once. And we'll find out if that's possible or not. fallen into the hole again. What a shame. Another experience of trying to go up a ladder. There we go. Did it. Another thing of note is the difficulty level. I don't know if you can change it in this or not in the tutorial, but we'll find out in a moment if you can. At higher difficulties, I think things drop better stuff, and of course, they are more likely to be aggro and things of that nature. Let's see. I guess we'll turn into aggro fast. We didn't get any motes that time around. That's okay. Turned in plenty to him. Let's destroy this skull. And then let's see if the difficulty can be changed in here. Just pick a difficulty. If it can, then that's crazy. Does not appear to be, because I go here, I put pick difficulty, nothing comes up. So I think maybe that's not something that is going to be doable in the tutorial, which makes sense, because why would you make the tutorial more difficult just to fight these skeletons better? I don't know. We've already gotten quite a few boots in the old inventory here. Run around a little bit, get that old athletics up. Fall in the hole some. Also, I want to check on the skills here, because some of this I may want to put on the bar over here. We've got Bind Wound, for instance. Bind Wound is something that's useful when you're not in combat. You can use it to heal up a little bit faster. Oh, this was the macro that I made, so it's transferred over my macros as well. That's cool. Right click maybe, or I don't remember. How do we get into this? Yeah, okay. Well, disable Symphonic Aura. It's definitely one that I'm pretty sure that's one that I made. How can I see what it does? I don't know. Macros, maybe? Or not. Interesting. Gonna go back to abilities. What else might I want here? I've not really grouped much. I've grouped like once or twice, and so I don't know a lot about that. Fishing is very useful once you put a rod and some bait. Here we have Frenzy. It looks like I don't have Frenzy on the bar, so I'm going to take it and put it on the bar, and I'm going to make it an auto skill by clicking that little button here. And like I said, you can also come here, left click, or no, right click and hold, and auto activate it there. Either way works. Okay, Gather Party. I've learned about Gather Party recently. If you're in a group and they're not all together, you can pull everybody into the same area by clicking Gather Party, and then they can accept it. Decline it. We have Intimidation here as well. I haven't actually used Intimidation. Well, I've used it, but I haven't succeeded with it at all. I'll go ahead and put it on the bar on the off chance that I do use it. Now we've hit various stances and things of that nature. Origin returns you to your point of origin. Also a good spell. You don't necessarily need it on your attack apply though. Okay, let's see. A ranged attack, I've never used that yet. And here we have Slam. Now Slam I had used, but I didn't put on auto attack because I was essentially using it as an interrupt. Also of note, if you are using an illusion that makes you something that is a smaller race, then you can't use slam. Okay, so those are all the important ones for me at the moment. Did not get a mote from that kill. Try again here. Now, you'll notice that on the hotbar there are numbers, so instead of mousing over, I could just hit the number 1, and it would attack the thing that I have targeted. Congratulations, you have obtained your first alternate advancement coin. You can spend your alternate advancement point in the alternate advancement menu by opening the EQ Legends button, highlighting the character category, and navigating to alternate advancement, or by pressing the alternate advancement window key, which is bound to V on your keyboard by default. You gain alternate advancement experience toward a new point every time you gain normal experience. Additionally, some quests may grant alternate advancement points as rewards for completion. Some alternate advancement abilities are passively applied, and others may be activated by being moved to your hotbar. Activated abilities can be moved to your hotbar by selecting the alternate advancement ability by left-clicking an activated ability, and transformed into a hotbar hotkey by selecting hotkey on the alternate advancement window. So that was where I went earlier over here, and I had gone class setting. You got general, archetype, class, and special over there. So there you are. Click OK. And now let's come over to Dead Done. And we'll try to dump some skulls on it. Relax it. Rambunctious and fragile, we give him. And then we'll do the same thing again. And now we have some more boots. Let's destroy this random third wheel here. Alright. Still didn't get any more of the motes, unfortunately. I won't do it too many more times before I decide it's of no consequence. And go ahead and combine them in other ways, just as they are. Okay, so let's see. What do we have going here? We have disciplines here. Doesn't have anything there. Not sure what that's all about. We've got spells. Those are what's already in our spell book. Whenever we click like this, it's the same stuff here in spells. It says rituals. I don't have any rituals either. Macros I definitely do have, but looking through, I don't see anything in the macro window that I personally made. If I go to new macro, no, that's just if I want to make a new macro. Cool. Let's go here and maybe actions. No. Character. That's not it. We got hotkeys, inventory, navigation, players, and quests. Let's try going. I'm not sure. How do we? And maybe. You see, there's Symphonic Aura here. Disabling it is available. Let's go to page 1. Okay, we've got assist main, auto fire, auto skill. I didn't add anything to that in the last one. Page 2 doesn't have it. Oh, very interesting. So where is that disable Symphonic Aura macro, for instance, being stored? I don't know. Let's go to options. Automations? No, nothing there. I have no idea. Now there's this load UI skin. I don't know if I can access that or not, but let's try it. Okay, this is default light, and modern. I think I was using the modern one on the one I had before. What if we click copy layout? Alright. So it does seem to be accessing our layouts from both the test server and the Nereac that we were on for the pre-order beta. So let's see if we can just do this. What if we click copy on this? Copying this layout will overwrite your current layout. Proceed? Sure, let's do it. Maybe. It's taking a whole second to. I guess I should have gone and killed the skeletons first. They were just repopping. Alright, so that didn't break anything. Great. Wonderful. Excellent. Alright. So this is how I had it when I was last playing. It's a lot more familiar to me. I did have this window up here, this hotbar, that I didn't actually know. I didn't put this here. This is one that they gave me, and it's all icons with no words. Not what I had chosen, but nonetheless, there it is. I suppose I could probably get rid of it, but I hadn't bothered in the past. And I wonder if you guys can even see it actually, because it's off screen probably. There it is. It looks like this. I'm going to stick it back up there in the upper left where it just sort of spawned in whenever I made the pre-order, whenever I started the pre-order beta. But okay. I like this. Alright, I've got some macros here already. You see this forage and lockpick and things like that. Traps to sneak. We've got origin over here, fishing. I have a macro set of fishing, but let's see. Can't fish without a fishing pole, of course not. Hanakari MP says, "Hey, Hannah here. Hey, Hannah, how you doing?" Alright, let's kill some of these fragile pets here. And I've got the font settings and everything different on this, so should be easier to read. I've also got begging set to happen whenever I make a left turn. How's it doing? It's doing alright here. How about you? Everything is doing swell. Alright, again, I didn't see any motes, but maybe. Let's check. See if any dropped that I didn't notice. No, unfortunately. Anna says, "Do you play Smash Brothers?" I don't play Smash Brothers. I have played Smash Brothers in the past, but not in many years. And it was sort of one of those things that I never did like competitively or anything. I just did it occasionally with the family, you know? So not really would be the answer, I guess. Alright, now, let's see, is it a right click? Yes, right click shows us what the macros are. So this button here is forage, and then I auto merge the inventory. I tried to, and then pick lock and auto inventory. And the thing is that on the auto merge inventory was not working last time I did. Maybe it'll work now. We'll find out. That's on there anyway. We've got traps, sneak, and begging on this one. And that is tied to my A button, which is the left turn. So we have forage that goes on the forward. Every time I go forward, it'll try to forage and lockpick and all those things. Every time that I turn left, it'll try to do traps and sneak and beg, and that can help get those skills leveled up a little bit. The begging is a little dangerous because my understanding is that you can get attacked if you try to beg from someone and you fail. But I haven't been attacked yet for it. Hannah says, which types of game do you mostly play on your live streams? Primarily, I'm doing EverQuest Legends, EverQuest 2, and Watcher of Realms, which is RPGs and Watch of Realms is a, I guess you'd call it a tower defense. Ah, this backpack is in just one line. Oh, odd. Hannah says, you know what? Interesting games. Well, thank you. I think they're interesting too. Do you play any of them? We're gonna run around for a moment and do some running into trees. That's an important part of this game. Once in a while, you just gotta run into a tree, you know? And getting the begging up, also vital. Dead Doug is surely gonna give us something. So far, begging has been completely useless for me. I've tried it. I think I got it up to, I don't even know what I got it up to. I want to say 50-ish on the pre-order beta. And I was unable to successfully beg from anyone, just like I was unable to intimidate anyone. I think I was unable to intimidate anyone. No, I was able to intimidate them. I wasn't able to disarm them. Disarming is a spell that I'll get later, or an ability that I'll get later. And I was not capable once on the pre-order beta of disarming them. This is definitely, I like this layout much better than the previous. Hannah says, by the way, you know I'm also a streaming gamer, very cool. But I don't have much time to play games and do streaming anymore because of my job. Gotcha. What do you normally stream, Hannah? You do the Smash Brothers? I did make a destroy button on my hotbar here, but I guess I don't really need it because we can just do it in the inventory window here with that destroy button. So I suppose I can get rid of that one. Anna says, but I'm starting to plan to do streaming again in a few months. Awesome. Very cool. Ah, there we go. We got some fragile pets respawning. Trying to be patient and get these motes to find out if that works or does not work. It's taking a whole minute though. I don't have much in the way of spell damage. I could do it with the Chords of Dissonance if I would turn off Symphonic Aura to do so. Hannah says, you know, money is important to living a good life. Sometimes Smash Brothers Cyberpunk. Alright. So, no go on the motes thus far. It's a shame. What do you do for a living, by the way? Well, you know what? We've got various things going on at various times. Sometimes I do DoorDash and Uber. I also have some books that I've written and various things. We'll just go with that. Make it easy. Alright, so I think I've got about one more round of these skeletons in me, and if I don't get a mote, I'm just going to move forward. Meanwhile, let's go run around this area. One thing over here that I've noticed, well, two things actually. We'll come over to this area and I'll show you something. First, we have the Bank of Horath, and this is never addressed in the tutorial. So we can come over here to the Bank of Horath, and we can go over to Doug Jr., and this is our first experience with the bank, right? As you can see, we have something called shrouds. Don't know what those are. And let me move that down where you can see. Hannah says, are you a writer? I am, yes. We also have Dragon Sword. Now, if we click on Dragon Sword, we can see this. This is where things go if you auto-store something, or if you store it while you're out fighting and you click store. and it's not a trade skill item, then it'll go into this Dragon's Forge gear. There's also another thing called an equipment tag, where you can store equipment specifically. So these are good things to know about. Trade Skill Depot holds 100 items. I think that the Dragon's Sword held 50, right? Let's make sure. Yes, 50 items in the Dragon's Sword, 100 items in the Trade Skill Depot, and that's 100 separate items. Some things stack, and they don't count as separate items when they stack. But if they don't stack, then it'll count as a separate item, even if it's a duplicate. So there's also a Find Item button, which is super useful. You can click on it, and you can look through. You can have the Trade Skill Depot on or off during that search, and you can find your item by name, or as you can see, various and sundry filters we have here that you can look in to try to find the items. Pretty cool. Let's see, there's also Auto Bank, so you can click an item in your bags, and you can click, move it over to the Auto Bank, and it'll pop it in to the first slot available, or the first one that it stacks with. Hannah says it's awesome. I'm a digital artist. That's awesome. Congratulations on that. Okay, let's make this of the same size as the others for now. Might have to readjust that later when we get some bigger bags, but we can do that for now. Anyway, wanted to show you the bank while we were waiting on some skeletons to repop anyway. There's another thing over here I would show you, but I want to go check on those skeletons because I suspect that they're up by now. Let's go ahead and use those boots and get a move on. Really flying along now. So fast, in fact, that we have beaten the repops of the skeletons. I had high hopes. Hannah says, yeah, I'm graduated in game development and visual designs from Metropolitan University in Manchester. Very nice. Congratulations on that. How long have you been in the field? Okay, we'll walk away from it and go beat ourselves up a little bit here. Because I wanted to show you something over here anyway, which is this building here. It says Guild House. And what you'll find is, at least last time I was here, what I found was that there's nothing really in here. We've got a little bit of hay on the ground, and we have Arius. Arius, if we click on him, we hail him, he doesn't say anything. So, that's very strange. We have a guild house with a dude in it, the dude doesn't say anything, and we know nothing whatsoever about what a guild house is. So I thought that was a little strange. So it's attached to the Bank of Norath for reasons unknown. Come back over and see if our skeletons have repopped. Yes, here they are. Wonderful. The fragile pets are not nearly so impervious once you get a couple or a level, I suppose. One level, so actually only level 2. Much easier to beat with the axe at level 2 than at level 1. Alright, looks like we did not get a mote. I will make 100% sure that that's correct, but I think that that's correct. Let's go over here to storage, and we'll go to currencies, and there are in fact none. So I'm going to call that good enough. We've got a lot of skulls to turn in anyway. Let's turn in some skulls to old Doug here. And I've erred because I ought to have been turning those in as I went. So that's alright though. We'll give it a go. Begging was unsuccessful. Now where is my window? I think it came back to me. There we are. Alright, the window is down there. So, we got that one and this one. Let's give. I see what's happened. We've got our bags on top of this window here. There we go. Let's click OK. And we'll toss some more onto him. Doug is all about the skulls. Hannah says, do you like to see if some of my art worked? By the way, I work at a coffee shop, but when I get home, it's a bit of remote work for my streamer friends. Oh, gotcha. Understand. Maybe you could post a link in my Discord sometime. rambunctious spell, that skull here, undug, and then we need a fragile one. I think here's a fragile one here. Give him a couple of those, and then got a couple more to get, rambunctious and fragile. And then I accidentally opened the windows, but I didn't get to. There we go. Let's see, that one was rambunctious. We need another fragile here somewhere. There we are. And then fragile and rambunctious once more. Okay. Now, we're going to take the rest of these and throw them in the trash. We're going to destroy them with that little button right there. You make sure before I do that I don't have any fragile ones left. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't. Okay. Alright. Destroy. Destroy. And destroy. Now, we're going to take these boots that we have here and start combining them with other boots. So, we've got these boots we want to place in here, and we're going to merge them. And then we're going to do the same again. We're going to keep on doing this with all of the boots that I have in my bags. Probably. We're at boots of the long road +2 at the moment. You can see that the stats are going up every time it goes up a full level. It'll take a little while to get very far because the amount needed doubles every time. So we're on tier 3 at the moment. And we're going to try to get up to tier 4, which it looks like we'll be able to get there and a little further if I wanted to. Just one more step. There's no real reason to go just one more step, so we can just have an extra pair and maybe give them to somebody or something. Who knows? 2 more pair, because we only need 1 more of these, and then we'll be tier 4. And tier 4 is high enough. There's no need to go further than that. Let's see. Good enough. I can stick the rest of these into the bank, I think. There we are. Hannah says, today I'm so tired after completing some projects for my streamer friends. I don't have Discord, but I have Instagram and Twitter where you can see my works. If you have Twitter, we can connect there as well. Share your Twitter link and just tell me your username and I'll add you. Sure, I can share with you your Twitter. There you go. Anyone can follow me on Twitter that wants to. So, I believe it's just like this right here. There you go. Now, or as they call it these days, X, right? Alright, so let's go over to our friend Doug here, because I've done all that I'm interested in, and so I want to hail him. He says, hail and well met, Kipoerneke. If you'd like to help me with a couple of errands, let's talk. I can't recall, but if you've already helped my father and still need more work, just say the word. Or perhaps you're finished here and want to go home. I am finished here and want to go home. Alright, the primary class is locked in and unchangeable once you reach level 11, at least until you unlock additional primary race and class options. Make sure you're happy with your choices before you reach level 11. If needed, the options window can be opened with O. The EQL button is very useful and you'll find access to lots of windows and information there. Many UI windows have tabs at the top of them that contain additional information and features. Your UI is very customizable. While you play, feel free to explore all the options and move and customize your UI windows. You can see additional info and UI features by right-clicking on and or hovering your mouse over different parts of the UI and even different parts of individual UI windows. You can interact with objects in the world like doors, levers, buttons, and trade skill stations by right or left-clicking on them. Click OK to continue. And here we are. Okay. Excellent. So we want to do that. And then we want to click ready to leave. He says, well, if you're ready, I'll send you off. Otherwise, feel free to hang around a little longer. Unfortunately, you won't be able to come back here, and we'll miss you. Good luck out there. So I'm going to click send, and we will be loaded into Oggok, which is the hometown, I believe, of the ogres. All right, here we are, and as you can see, there are many people here. We'll do a slash here and see who's in the zone. So there are 43 people in this area right here, just in this zone. Let's do a slash through all, and I bet it'll say 100. No, it says your request was cut short. Too many players. I was thinking 100 because in EverQuest 2, 100 is the top that it'll go to. But apparently on here it just says, nah, no good. All right. So while we're here, let's talk to Body Walker over here. He's the Berserker Guild Master. And I have in my bags a letter. See this? Gore splattered note. Let's look at it real quick. Track the client. Welcome, young Berserker. You be wanting to join the Bone Cutters Guild, right? With the help of Body Waka, the leader of the Bone Cutters, you learn lots about becoming a great fighter with fury. Find Body and give him this note. So here we have found Body Waka. We have the note. Let's take the note and drop it on him. Click give, and he says, "Good, good. Me got some clothes for you. Now that you's a bone cutter, you's need to start chopping things. Me got a few friends that needs help too. If you want something to do, talk to Oggok over there. Come see me again when you've got some experience and are ready to learn more." All right. So there it is, Body Waka. Now, it talks about Oggok. My experience on beta was that Oggok is not around. I don't know if that continues to be the case. I'm not seeing him. So I think so. It's looking likely. So, just in case, let's come here. We'll click find. And let's see if we see anybody named Oggok. And I looked all over the place on beta, and I did not find Oggok. I don't see him here in this list, and so I don't believe that he is here. We've got all kinds of little dots on the map that we can look at, and I believe he's not going to show up. I'm going to look, but I don't think so. You can see all kinds of people in this area, and none of them are named Oggok. So you can zoom in and out on this map, by the way, and your tracking level is dependent, I guess, on your class and how skilled you are in tracking, and that determines how far you can see your enemies and apparently NPCs and all that. There's a button that says center here, and that'll center your character back on the screen. You can zoom in and out. So that's the important parts in that window at the moment. There's also a zone guide. I'll show you guys about that later. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like that. We're going to center it, and there's no Oggok. Now, it is 4:21 p.m., and I have not eaten. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to call it for now and back along later on. So it was certainly a pleasure streaming with you guys. I hope that you all enjoyed the stream and that you have some idea of what it's like to start on the tutorial and make it through there and the things that you can do. Be sure to ask me any questions if you have some. You can always go to my Discord and check it out there. If you're not following me yet, be sure to follow me so that you can turn on notifications and see the next time that I go live. Hopefully I'll see you all then, but goodbye for now.